You ruin the chicken fingers, you ruin the business. Lines like that made me famous. Hi, Kline Chopperfield. You might have noticed me on Fast Food Flippers or my new joint, Deep Fry Everything. I was also an extra in the movie Eggplant, the story of an eggplant that wanted to be a boy. And I used to be just like you know, watching footballs fly across the television, ooh, locking your elderly mother up in the basement while you ran her credit cards through the roof on sports betting websites. Guilty, shut it, Grandma. Politics? Not when my sports are on, let me tell you, pal. The only flag I noticed was yellow. And kids, haven't seen them. Traded them for Warren Moon in '94. They could be anywhere now. Time sure flies by when you're living a fantasy. But sometimes those fantasies land you in the jailhouse. And the jailhouse is unlimited access to your ass by everyone. But I guess what I'm saying today is I don't have any regrets. Everything I did all those years destroying the ones who cared about me, it was worth it. Because this year my roster's stacked. Did you see what Bortles did in London this weekend? Haven't been that excited since I cut myself open just to feel again. Geez, thanks, Piff. Love the show. And to everyone out there tuning in, keep pushing. Keep pushing everyone that's in your life out. The waivers, they're so clear now. Roster moves are smooth. And an L, haven't seen one of those in a while. I'll always drink, and I'll never quit. But there's one thing you can't call me. A quitter. And I won't ever stop. Hey, Marco, throw the 8-ball this way. Yeah, now the money's on the table. What do you mean it's not enough? I'm fucking good for it. Okay, get the fuck out then. What are you good for? Point heads.
Where the weight at? Before I ran up in the building talking way back. I still late night dreaming about the payback. All I wanna do is get rich.
Hey, come in. Shut the front door. Shut the front door. God, you're so wet. You're sweating more than you were last week. Sit down, chill out. Piff on the Blitz, episode 4. Back like I never left. Coming to you live from your dirty uncle's computer desk. I snuck and infiltrated his shit. Boom! Snuffed that fat motherfucker out, jacked the spreadsheets, bagged the schematics, and I was out that bitch before you could say, Jared Goff sure does look like Joe Montana tonight, don't he, Cliff? Shut the fuck up. Everybody's kneeling. I ain't watching shit. Turn the fucking shit to NASCAR. I swear to God, I fuck this America. But then I jumped on a segue because I was tired of all that shit, and I'm actually live again from my very own computer desk. Could you believe it? I got it, and it's built, and I'm sitting in it. I'm sitting next to it. I'm Piff, a.k.a. the GOAT, Mr. Everybody on the roster, shit all over the field? What? You need somebody to clean it up. Mr. Philip Waivers, Danny Weedhead, but I'm on that IR because I smoke too much grass. Benjamin Potson, and, yo, you can call me whatever the fuck you want to call me. I could give a shit.
Damn.
If I was a coach, you already know the deal. I'd make everybody do dumb shit. What's up? Episode 4. Thanks for tuning in. Week 3 was a doozy, right? All sorts of crazy shit happening. I've been a fan of my team for 40 years. I'm burning everything. Burning the jersey, burning the season tickets, I'm burning the cross. And look, you've been a fan for, are you kidding me? You've been a fan for 40 years and somebody decides to kneel and you are done? You mean the time that, you know, guys hit other people with fucking cars and killed them? That didn't stop you from watching? When Ray Lewis was running around stabbing people up in the club, you kept watching? Let me tell you something. Nobody gives a fuck if you're not watching. I sure don't. All you did was set yourself up. What are you going to do on Sundays now? Watch NASCAR? Good luck filling your day. Hey, Ron, yeah, now that we got all this extra time, honey, the sink's dripping. There's some leaves in the backyard. Be my guest. Burn your shit. Have fun doing all that stuff on Sunday. I'll be watching football. The anthem. Real patriots. What does it all mean? Well, this was a tough show to put together because, honestly, it's not like I could run 40 minutes and not mention it. You know what I'm saying? But week 4 is on the deck, and week 3 was very interesting. I mean, a squirrel scored a touchdown. Odell Beckham Jr. got on all fours and pissed in the end zone like a dog. But the bottom line, this is what the bottom line is. You want the bottom line? It's all about numbers for me. Everything's numbers. The bottom line is, if you want somebody to respect something, you can't force it down their fucking throat, okay? Listen. Listen to what they have to say. I mean, there's people pitching a fit about people kneeling before the flag and the anthem was even sung. Before the flag came out and the anthem was sung, they were kneeling, and it's still a fucking big deal. Wow. you're tying it to this, and you're tying it to that, and you're tying it to this. You remember the president? Remember how he dodged all those fucking drafts over some bullshit? Yeah. That's real patriot. That's a real fucking patriot. I'll tell you what. That's some bitch-ass shit. So fuck off. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you don't have to listen. And you can also suck my dick from the back. So there are my thoughts on it. Very appropriate, Piff. Very appropriate. But what do you got for us? What were the game picks like? The game picks, well, drum roll. Jesus, that was terrible. That was my drum roll. We are now 32-15 on game picks. That's great, because we were like 21-10 last week. This week we're 32-15. That means we won a lot. Let me tell you what I did do right. I picked the fucking Saints to beat the Panthers. That was an upset pick. And my other upset pick, I picked the Titans to beat Seattle. Nobody was doing that, but I did, and I was right. And I picked the Vikings to beat the Bucs at home. No, you tell me you didn't. Yeah, I did, and it happened, and it happened. And the boys won on Monday night. So yeah, 32-15. Those are Belichick numbers. We're fucking with all the headsets. We've got a bounty out on game picks because we're taking them down. You know what I'm saying? Does it all make sense to you now? And as far as the fantasy, the weekly fantasy lineup that I gave you last week, dude, we're getting better and better. Can you tell? I mean, if you played some of the guys, look, you had Hunt, you had Thompson, you had Jackson, you had Thielen, you had Ertz. All those guys did well. If you chose Carr, that's your fault. You know what? You should have known I set that up. That's a decoy, baby. Come on now. And then the Eagles defense, yeah, well, whatever. You know, when you listen to these picks, nobody's telling you to do it exactly the way I said. You know, think for yourself. It's a free world. Okay. So yeah, 32-15 is our record now. And what happened to Baltimore? Dude, did Blake Bortles swap bodies with Joe Flacco? I woke up in the morning and saw that my defense barely scored anything. It was fucking a nightmare. And then the rest of the day, I had to sit in it. I had to sit through the whole entire fucking fantasy week. And my fantasy team is really, really not good. 1-2. That's what I am in fantasy. I got guys like Terrell Pryor. Where the fuck are you? I just don't think they know how to use him. He's like a monster. He's huge. And he's got such great frame and length. But yet, they keep running him on stupid routes that make no sense to his body type and also his style of play. So, great job, Gruden. Keep it up. Keep the good work up. I don't give a fuck if you ran 1,000 yards on the Raiders. Throw the goddamn ball to my guy, right? It's all about fantasy. And another week of everybody adding football players about their fantasy scores. But you also have to keep in mind the game plan. Don't add a player and then be like, you didn't fucking get me any points. I'm dropping you. If the ball was only thrown to him once or twice. Why didn't you get me 20 points? Sometimes it's a game plan. Kids, you know, teams change it up. So yeah, your guy isn't going to score points every fucking week. You're lucky if he does score points every fucking week. But you could still at people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You can do what you want, but at least know what the fuck you're talking about, right? Okay, in the matchups we had last week, we said Brady and the Texans would be interesting. It kind of was. It was a close game, but Brady turned up. He threw 5 touchdowns and had a game-winning touchdown with Cooks. So it wasn't as difficult as we thought it might have been for Brady. He turned up. He turned up. So he overcame that challenge. And it's early in the season. He's just going to keep getting better, I think, especially if his weapons keep getting healthier. The other matchup we had was Zeke and the Cardinals, and it sure looked like they had him bottled up the first half. And then in the second half, he did what he needed to do, and he got 80 yards and a touchdown. So I'm going to give him the win on that matchup. And here's the thing about Zeke. There's a lot of bullshit around this, okay? 80 yards and a touchdown versus a top 10 run defense. And look, people keep saying it's not enough. It's not what we expect. He doesn't look as good. It's obviously affecting him. Look, when you're facing a top 10 run defense and you got 80 yards and a touchdown, you got enough. And by golly, look what it opened up on that Dak touchdown run. Sometimes it's not about the yards gained on plays. It's sometimes about the deception with the play calling. It's called lulling a team into what you want them to do. Now, I'm a bigger critic of offensive coordinators than most people, but what he did in that game, Linehan, to deceive the defense, it took the top off of it. And that's kind of the point, you know? Get him thinking the ball is going to go to Zeke, and then Dak rolls out. Boom, play action. It's called setting it up, kids. Okay? But I am concerned with him getting into situations like they did against Arizona more and more because, look, a team like Atlanta and Green Bay, they're not going to let him come back. They're going to eat him alive. They'll never have a chance. And the schedule's tough as nails. And these situations aren't always going to go the Cowboys' way. So, yeah. Then I tuned into the post-game press conference, and Jason Garrett is such a robot. Solve a CAPTCHA. Wow. Wonka, wonka, wonka. My God, there's not a personality in sight. If you're ever having trouble falling asleep, go ahead and YouTube Jason Garrett post-game press conference. Out like a light, instantly. Swear to God. I don't know, man. But what's up with Odell Beckham Jr.? He's a dog? I'm just a dog, bro. All right. Do your thing as long as you're scoring touchdowns, right? So what did we learn in week 3? Well, we learned that Baltimore never needs to go to London again. Detroit played really well against Atlanta, and it came down to Tate just missing the end zone. And so Stafford looks really good. He's going to continue to play real good. That's what we learned from that. Seattle and Tennessee, we learned Seattle's offensive line and their running game. If it's not there, Russell Wilson can throw it all he wants, but they're not going to win games. Kansas City, strong as ever. Phillip Rivers, as usual. In the fourth quarter, is trying to make a comeback, and something goes wrong. Bengals, Packers, wow, we saw the Bengals score their first touchdown of the season, and they looked pretty good against the Packers, but, you know, the Packers kind of do that early in the season, even at home. Sometimes they struggle with teams that they shouldn't struggle with. It's a lot like the Steelers, who people are like, oh, how do they get beat by the Bears? Dude, this always happens. It's in their DNA. The Steelers always lose a game early in the season or late in the season to a team that they definitely shouldn't have lost to. They couldn't control the run game. The Bears were running Mike Glennon didn't even throw more than 150 yards. I don't think he did. And all they did was run all over him. But Chicago at home has good pass defense. And they're actually a tough team to beat at home, even if they're not that great of a team record-wise. Rams and Niners, everybody's hyping Goff up. Oh, my God, he's Joe Montana. Did you see that? Did you see Goff's throwing it around? Yeah, I saw it, but he's playing the Niners. Calm down. The Niners, they didn't even have Eric Reed. They didn't have Reuben Foster. So I don't care. Rams and Dallas next week, we'll see what's really good. We'll see what's really popping. And that's easy for him. It should be a big day again. Because look what Trevor Siemian did to the Dallas pass defense. And look what the Dallas pass defense did Monday night. Letting Larry Fitzgerald get like 1,000 million yards. Catching like 50 fucking passes. Broncos Bills. Oh, does this mean the Broncos are terrible now? No, it just means that the Broncos played the Bills in Buffalo. Buffalo had home field advantage, and their defense, like I said it was going to be in the episode 1 in the season preview, was going to be good. Because Sean McDermott knows what he's doing on defense. And it's Trevor Siemian. Oh, he thought Trevor Siemian was a god, right? Because he played Dallas's pass defense, and then he met a real pass defense, and he couldn't fucking handle it. So that's why I don't have the Broncos winning the division. So calm the fuck down. When the Broncos are at home, unstoppable. When they're on the road and they have to rely on quarterback play, get out of here. Panthers Saints called the upset just because the Panthers, Cam Newton's not only throwing it all over the fucking place, but they just lost Benjamin. They lost Olsen. This guy has no weapons. You can throw it to McCaffrey 50 times if you want. You're not going to win a game. So the Saints, Drew Brees, he did what he had to do, you know. The Saints defense doesn't have to be very good sometimes. Sometimes Brees just has to be good. And he lit it up, and they won. Browns Colts, who gives a shit? Really? I mean, these teams, the ratings are getting pulled all the way down. Every time the Colts and the Browns are scared. Dude, fuck out of here. I don't care about that shit. Jacoby Brissett did look pretty good, and he got a win against the Browns. There you go. Steelers, Bears, we talked about that. Pats, Texans, it was a really good game. And if you tuned in, you saw, you know, classic Brady coming back, winning the shit. Dolphins, Jets, Dolphins are going to be up and down all year. And for some reason, they couldn't get the run game going. And I don't understand it because their offensive line should be better than it was last year, at least in my opinion. But the Jets pulled a win out. And that's stupid for them to do because if you want that number 1 overall pick, stop winning. And in the Bucs and the Vikings, when you play the Vikings at home, that's what you're going to get. A lot of noise, a lot of good defense. And Sam Bradford, who needs him? We have Case Keenum. And the Bucs, Jameis Winston, he's going to be up and down all year too. Eagles, Giants, look, the Giants, everybody's giving them a hard time. They're going to get it on track, you know. It's essentially an extended preseason for them. Once they get the chemistry and they start rolling together, they'll be fine. The Eagles, this game could have gone in overtime. Had that kicker missed the field goal, it could have been a different story. And I'm not hyping the Eagles up. They do have a fast defense. But, yeah, the Giants were still able to score points on them, like, pretty well with the terrible offensive line and no run game that they have. I swear, the Giants and the Seahawks, I probably shouldn't have given them as much credit as I did in episode 1 because if I had known that those offensive lines were as bad as they are, never. I would have never. Raiders skins. What does this mean for the Raiders? It just means they didn't show up. It's 1 week. Sometimes teams don't show up. The Skins are going to be a good run team the rest of the year because Bill Callahan's running that offensive line. And let me tell you, he's good. He was with the Cowboys when DeMarco Murray had a great season just a couple years ago when they went into the playoffs. And then he was with Oakland, and Oakland has one of the best offensive lines now. I know it didn't show Sunday night, but Bill Callahan was the coach of the offensive line for the Raiders the previous seasons. So he kind of knew what he was going. So I'm sure he had some insider information that helped them get to the quarterback, and Carr had a messy day. And then the boys and Cardinals on Monday night. Cowboys look really ugly in the beginning of that game, but they ended up. It's interesting because the Cowboys have the approach of we're going to play a game and you're going to know everything we're doing, but try and stop it. And that's an interesting strategy, but if they do stop it, then what? But the thing about it is they use that for deception. So we're going to give you the same look after the same look after the same look, and you might stop it, and you might stop it again. And then all of a sudden, boom, something different. And so that's what they rely on. I don't like it. I think it's a little risky. And like I said, when you play big teams like Atlanta and Green Bay, get out of here. You get behind too far, like they did in the playoffs last year, and there's just no coming back. Okay? It's just no coming back. Tyler Eifert's going to be out for a few weeks for injuries. Darren Sproles, got destroyed on one play, tore his ACL, broke his arm. He's out for the year. Wendell Smallwood looks like he's going to be the guy to take his place, but they also have Corey Clement in the backfield, and he scored a touchdown last week for the Eagles. So that was week 3, and that was pretty much what you needed to know. Let's see, week 4. Let's just jump right into the game picks for week 4. We have an interesting week. We have the Bears and Packers on Thursday night, kicking it all off. There's another London game, so pay attention to that. And so I'll give you these game picks for week 4. I'll give you a little weekly fantasy lineup, and we'll see how we do. Then after that, we'll go through. We did the matchup thing, and we're gonna skip it this week. We did the Blitz thing. I'm skipping it this week. And what I want to do this week is go through waivers. Who wants to pick up a player? Who needs a player? So we'll go through some of the top waiver picks this week and give you some advice on that. And then we'll wrap it all up. And this might be a shorter show because I got fucking shit to do. I gotta go fucking. Don't worry about it. But I gotta go pretty soon. So let's check it out here. Week 4, Chicago Bears and the Packers. Okay, I'm gonna give the Packers the win. They're at home. Aaron Rodgers is gonna be good. Chicago at home might have been different. I might have went with the upset, to be honest with you. But Packers at home, primetime game. Yeah, Thursday night's primetime game. Aaron Rodgers gets the win. I don't know, 21-20. Okay, Dolphins, Saints in London. I think the Dolphins bounce back. I think Jay Cutler connects a lot on this terrible pass defense, and it's just enough to win. Dolphins get the win 28-17, and I fucking hope I don't wake up again and see some bullshit. I don't like these London games. They're terrible. The London games and the Thursday night games, I hate when I have my players on them games. It's never good for me. It's never good. Atlanta and Buffalo. Atlanta's going to blow them out. No, they won't blow them out, but they're going to get the win. They're at home in the Dome where you can take $20 and you can feed a village. So 42-21, I don't know, that's probably way too high. Steelers, Ravens, I think the Steelers bounce back. The Ravens are going to have their second loss in a row, and I give it to the Steelers 24-13. In this game, I just think that the Steelers' defense will be improved from what they did last week. They'll be able to stop the Ravens' run, but I do think the Ravens are going to run it. I see this being a low-scoring game. I don't know, 17-13 Steelers. Bengals, Browns. The Bengals scored a touchdown finally, and I think they score another one in this game. Against the Browns, I give them the win, 17-10. I think Burfict's coming back. Perfect. Rams, Dallas. This is going to be an interesting game because people want to see what they're getting out of Goff. What is he really going to do? He's playing a bad pass defense. A lot of young people in that pass defense over in Dallas. So he should be able to have a big day. Check out Robert Woods. Check out Cooper Kupp. Sammy Watkins is in concussion protocol. But those receivers should have a big day. One of them is going to go off. I know it. Because if Dallas goes ahead and they can't control the clock because they haven't been able to, then the Rams are going to toss and they're going to throw. And so it might be an error show. We'll see. I'm going to give the win to Dallas, though, 34-26, just based on that offensive line up against the Rams D that's struggling. Titans and Texans, a lot of people are picking the Texans. My upset pick is the Titans on the road. And I just think that they're going to pound the rock again, do what they did to Seattle. They're just a really physical team. If you saw what they did against Seattle, you noticed how physical they were. They were beating Seattle up, and that's a lot. And with Seattle, what I was saying with them is their defense is on the field so much by the third and fourth quarter, they just get tired. I see that strategy being used again by the Titans against the Texans this time. let's keep that defense out on the field. Let's see if J.J. Watt can stay out there and be in condition. Let's see if he can not get injured. All right, so the Titans win 24-11. Lions and Vikings, this was a tough one, but I'm going with the home team. In Minnesota, it's loud. Minnesota has a good defense. I think Stafford makes a mistake. I think the Vikings win 21-18. Cook's going to have a big game. He should. And Stephon Diggs and Slay, that's a matchup to watch. Really interesting because Slay's been doing really well. And then on the other end, you could say Rhodes and Tate will be a good matchup as well. So two really good matchups in that game. It will be probably the game of the week for me. 21-18 Vikings. Panthers and Patriots. Panthers can't do anything on offense, and the Patriots will, and they'll get the win, 28-10. And I think Brady has a good game as well. Jaguars, Jets. I'm going to give the Jags the game, 13-3. It's going to be a low-scoring affair. Jags defense is showing up. Look what they did to the Baltimore Ravens last week. I'll give them the win. Bortles probably won't have a great of a day, but they'll do enough to win. I think they give the rock to Fournette, and he gets it done. 49ers and Cardinals. Cardinals bounce back at home, 21-10 over the 49ers. 49ers are just, yeah, whatever. And the Eagles-Chargers. This was a hard one, too, because I wanted to pick the Eagles, but whenever I see a team flying across the country for a game, it's hard for me to pick them. And I don't see the Chargers starting 0-4. So I'm going to give them the win, 27-21, and I think Phillip Rivers has a good day. He's going to be under pressure. The Eagles' defense is tough, but I think he does enough to win. And the Giants, Tampa Bay. Let's go with the Giants here. I know everybody thinks they're falling apart, and they're going to be on the road, but Eli showed some signs of life last week. And those wide receivers, they're not going to be held down forever. Yeah, sure, they can't run the ball, and they can't protect very well, but that defense is still very talented. And I think Winston's going to make mistakes on it. I give the Giants the win, 24-19. Broncos, Raiders. Broncos at home, forget about it. Broncos are going to be crazy at home. And their defense is going to do what it needs to do to beat the Raiders. I give them the win, 21-13. Anytime the Broncos are playing in that altitude and they're playing at home with that noise, it's just tough to beat them. It's the Chiefs, the Seahawks, the Broncos, all those teams, Minnesota at home, all those teams, bet on them. Colts, Seahawks, Sunday night game. This is going to be an ugly game. I think the Seahawks are going to win it. The Colts have an underrated defensive line. They're going to get after Wilson a bit. But I think this is the week that they actually, maybe figure out the run game a little bit against the Colts. The Colts are going to be concentrating on trying to track Wilson down. I think if you run some draws and you run some inside zones and stuff like that, the Seahawks can be successful. I see Paul Richardson having a big day. Hopefully Doug Baldwin can play. Even if he can't play, I'm still picking the Seahawks in this one, 30-17. And the Monday night game, Kansas City and Washington, Redskins looked real good last week, okay? But Kansas City's at home, and it's prime time. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to pick the Redskins in this one. I'm going to pick the Chiefs. So there you have it. Those are the Week 4 picks. And hopefully next week, our record's even better. All right, and the weekly fantasy lineup, what do you got? Well, here's what I got. I'm picking Eli at quarterback because the value, what he costs it just makes sense for what he costs, all right? And he had like 300 yards last week, and against Tampa Bay, right now Tampa Bay currently has the worst pass defense. So why wouldn't I take Eli in that one? C.J. Anderson's my running back. Last time he was at home, he blew up. Yeah, he had a down week last week. This week I expect him to have a big week. Against the Raiders, look what Washington did on him. So running the ball is what the Broncos need to do to calm Simeon down, and C.J. Anderson has a big day. I also have Cook as a running back for the Vikings because, every week. My wide receivers are Keenan Allen, and I just think if I'm going to say Rivers is going to have a big day against the Eagles, or it's going to be a show with points on the board, that Allen's going to be involved. And for his price, it made sense. Odell Beckham Jr. and Garcon are my other two, but let me tell you right now, if anybody was going to get swapped out of this lineup, it would be those two. But Odell, he had a nice game last week, and if anybody has capability to have another big game, it's him. And then same thing with Garcon. Garcon is like the main weapon for the Niners, and he's getting a lot of targets. The problem is he's facing off against Patrick Peterson. I looked at it quickly and I said, sometimes you got to play players even if they have a bad matchup. But if you're going to swap anybody out, it would be those two, and maybe you'd find somebody else to put in there. At tight end, I have Austin Hooper because they're at home, and I feel like he's got one of those huge games in him. And that, their game plan changes from week to week. This last week, they had Taylor Gabriel out there doing things again, and he hadn't shown up all season. So maybe they go back to Hooper, and so that's what I'm thinking. And at the price, I'll take it. And then Robert Woods is my flex because I feel like if Watkins is in protocol and he doesn't get to practice a lot, that Woods will be maybe in the game plan more. And I just think anybody that's a wide receiver that's on the Rams playing against the Dallas D, take them. So even if you have Watkins, Woods, Kupp, even Everett, the tight end, play him. Why not? You can't lose. Look what Larry Fitzgerald did last week. And then for my defense, I'm going Denver at home because the price is good. Yeah, they're playing a good offense, right? So the price is good, but they're gonna do well. They're gonna do well enough for you. So there you have it. That was the weekly fantasy lineup. You had the game picks, all brought to you by nobody. So send me money so I can put your name in front of this, and I can say it's brought to you by whatever. Sparkling ice lemonade, the peach flavor, the one with 0 calories. All right, so let's continue the show. So this week we're doing something new, and I'm going through the waivers, okay? And I'm telling you who I think is worth picking up and who's not worth picking up. Or fuck that, I'll just give you the top 5 guys who I think need to be picked up if they're not picked up in your league. I'm looking at everybody else's list. In my league, it's really deep. So guys like Marquise Lee, Sterling Shepard, they're probably not on the waiver list for you. I have 14 teams, and there's only 4 bench spots, but there's a lot. There's flex, there's 3 wide receivers, so it's a deep league, and you can't just get a lot of the time the first 2 or 3 guys on these waiver lists that NFL.com and different websites put out. They're not even available in my league. But who am I looking at? Well, Wendell Smallwood for the Eagles, because now that Sproles is out, he's going to take that spot where he's going to be the pass-catching running back. So you really need to pick him up. He's probably going to get the targets, and he shows burst. And I know the Eagles have Blunt, but they're not going to throw the ball to Blunt. I heard this too. Oh, I guess Blunt's going to be catching some more passes. Watch out for that because they want to get the big guy in space. No, I don't see that. So I think Smallwood's a good pickup there for the Eagles. Over in Washington, look, the way Jordan Reed gets hurt, it makes sense to pick up Vernon Davis. And he showed that he still has it in the tank. And he had a good game Monday night. So I pick him up again, thinking that Jordan Reed might get hurt again. He might not be able to play the whole season. On average, he misses like 4 games a year because of all the injuries that he has. And Vernon Davis has good chemistry with Cousins. And they signed him to a deal, three-year, $15 million deal. So they're probably going to try to use him. And so that's a good pickup. If you really need a quarterback really bad, people are telling you to go with Goff. I'm telling you, not so quick, not so fast. Don't pick him up. He might have a big day, but he could also have one of those days where he gets sacked a couple times and throws a pick. So I don't know. Not big on that. Other guys that I like, Alvin Kamara for the Saints. I feel like he's been involved in the game plan more and more. Jamal Charles, not big on him. A lot of people are trying to pick him up, not big on him. Devin Funchess, I'm picking him up because, look, there's like a limited amount of weapons in that offense. Somebody has to get the ball. So just based on targets alone, I say yay. I say okay. And Benjamin Watson, no, I'm staying away from him. Mercedes Lewis, you pick him up if you want to. But the last time he had a game like that was never. And last guy, Ryan Griffin for the Houston Texans. He's a tight end now. Their other tight end, CJ, I'm not going to try to pronounce the last name. He's on IR. So Ryan Griffin's getting them targets. And he already has good chemistry with Watson. So watch out. So those are some waiver picks to look at. If you need a player, if you need to fill in, if you need to plug in. Andre Ellington was getting a lot of targets in the passing game for Arizona. And he might take Chris Johnson's spot. Because Chris Johnson didn't look good. There was a reason he was cut in the first place. But, injuries happen. They happen. Look, don't fret. The fantasy season is still very early. Okay, if you're 1 and 2 like me, all you have to do is do a really good job on the waivers. And that's why I decided to pull these waivers out this week. If you put the right people in and your other guys start to show up and they get to the normal numbers that you need, then you'll be all right. You'll be okay. Okay? All right. And before I go, I'll leave you with a survivor pick. So last week I gave you a survivor pick I had forgot the week before and I fucked up. But this week I haven't forgot. I haven't forgot about you. So if you want a survivor pick, if you haven't picked the Packers, you can use them. You can also use Atlanta. I would use them. Another safe pick would be the Patriots. If you used all of them, then go with Kansas City. Oh, you use Kansas City too? Well, Seattle's probably the next best thing. So those are some survivor picks. Tell your boss I said what's up. Okay, that was episode 4, Piff on the Blitz. Check us out on Twitter, @RowdyPiffPod. Okay, and also we have the show on Mondays, the Rowdy and Piff Show. And last week we talked about serial killers, and all kinds of things like geostorms. And it was a great show. And so you can find us on YouTube, Rowdy and the Piff on YouTube, all the shows, all the Piff on the Blitz shows are there. Like it, subscribe it, comment, send us the questions. You got fantasy questions? Hit me up. You got sports questions in general? Hit me up. You want to get at me? Hit me up. All right? On YouTube, on Twitter, at RowdyPiffPod. I am on Twitter at MonsterPiff. You can get at me personally on a personal level if you wanted to get on a deeper level with me. And so check those shows out. We're on iTunes. It's a free download. It doesn't cost you anything to listen. And give us a review. Remember I said I needed reviews and I needed you to rate shit or I'm not going to be here any longer? That's still true. I will not be here next week unless I see 2 reviews. That's a lie. I will be here every week. Regardless. Because I do my thing. I do my job. Okay? I don't dodge things. Okay? I show up when you need me. And I give you the information, even if you don't want it. I'll force it. You'll respect me, and that's because I forced it so much. And that's how you get people to respect you, right? Got it. Episode 4. This has been a great show. Episode 5 should be litty. We'll find out. Till then, I'm out. Piff, a.k.a. the GOAT.
I ran up in the building talking way back. I stay late night dreaming about the payback. All I wanna do is get rich, yo. I get looking for a lick, yo. About to rob 'em for the shit, yo. Want the rollie on the wrist.